All right, all right. We should be live. How's it going, everybody? I see Joseph in the stream, so thanks, Joseph, for coming back. He was part of my test stream last time, so how's it going? How's the weather out here? Let's see. You're in Oregon, I believe, right? So you're on the West Coast, California. It's been pretty hot. We've had like 90s, so definitely feels like summer here. Gadget Goddess is here. What's up, Kimmy? Thanks for stopping by. We've also got Tana So Lit. Thanks, Tana. Appreciate you stopping by as well. I know Gadget Cast has got their thing going, so I don't expect a lot of people coming in, but I had a bit of a free time and I took some notes. I watched a replay of the keynote for WWDC. I got some thoughts on it, so I figured we'd talk about it. I know. I'm trying to do more live streams, Gigi. So this is part of my promise to myself that I'll just start doing this more. I wasn't going to do it, but I said, screw it, let's go. I've got a little bit of time. LaShawn's in the building. What's up, LaShawn? Thanks for coming by. Holla at your boy. Thanks for stopping by, man. So I'm honored. I've got YouTube legends in the chat, man. So everybody see WWDC today, or at least see all the announcements, I'm sure. I know, LaShawn, you're all about Apple and WWDC, so I'm sure you're totally into it. You can't wait for the next iOS version to come out. Just playing around at StreamYard and trying to get used to this thing. It's harder when you're actually trying to control it. I've been on other streams where it's so much easier if someone else is doing it. But yeah. So LaShawn actually watched an hour of it. So that's almost the whole thing, man. You made your way through the whole thing. I know Tana's ready for iOS 14. It's totally on the Apple train. Tana, thanks, man. Thanks for tweeting it out. It's cool. Yeah, I'm not expecting a whole lot of people to come through, but for whoever does, totally appreciative. But I'm guessing most people saw this thing, and I usually don't watch these events. I'll usually just catch the recaps and see kind of what was announced and what's all about. But this time I want to check it out. I want to actually watch it this time because it's the first time they're not doing it live in person. And so I kind of want to see what Apple's going to do and how they're going to present everything. And I actually thought it was cool. So I don't know about everyone else, but I actually thought the whole keynote and how they did it was really cool. They, had different executives, different employees from Apple presenting on different things from different parts of the Apple Park campus. So it's pretty cool. You had Tim Cook in the theater. They did Craig Federighi. He was out in the Apple Park Visitor Center. They did some guy in the Workout Center. So they took you kind of on a mini tour of Apple Park. So I thought that was pretty cool. A lot of fans who are tuning in definitely are obviously into Apple and don't get to see the campus. I live here in Northern California, really close to the Apple campus in Cupertino. I visited it, but you can only go to the visitor center. They won't let you anywhere on the actual employee campus for obvious reasons. And so unless you're invited for a tour, you're never going to get to see that part. And Apple Park Visitor Center is right across from the big giant spaceship. And you can go upstairs and kind of view across, but they've got that thing covered up in trees, and it's really not much of a great viewing experience. So I thought that was cool that he did that. We got Joker Tech. So Mike, simply your device, now Joker Tech. Welcome to the stream, man. Thanks for joining in. Of course, Tana is amped, and we got Barry Johnson. Barry's excited, although there are a lot of Android takeaways. There are a lot of Windows phones queues. Yeah, so we'll talk about all that stuff. Actually, let's probably just get going. WWDC, like I said, I watched the replay. I thought it was really cool. And I took some notes along the way. So I'll just go in order of how kind of Apple introduced things, because this is obviously their own priority for their order, and we'll talk about it. Want to hear all of your thoughts, what you guys thought about this thing. I never watched any other reactions. I didn't read any articles. So this is just coming from my impressions, my full thoughts about what I think about all this stuff, just from watching it direct from Apple. So first thing I thought was really cool, I already went through. I thought how they presented it, laid it out, different places, and took you on a tour of Apple Park was cool. They also had a lot more people presenting this time, which is very cool. So it wasn't just a lot of the SVPs, the usuals like Tim Cook and Craig Federighi and all the guys. They handed it off to the actual teams. So you got to see like directors, which is interesting. So not even vice presidents, they went down to directors, even senior managers, and actually engineers. So people from the engineering team. I thought that was really cool. A lot of women, so a lot of female presenters were there. A lot of diversity that they tried to put on, and I thought that was very cool. So, kudos to Apple. They could have just let Tim or anyone present the whole thing like they normally do, but they actually got it down to the leaders of those individual teams to present on either iOS or the different parts that they were working on. So I thought that was very cool. iOS. So kind of first things that they went through in iOS was the whole app library concept. To me, it really just feels like an Android launcher that's kind of organized by categories. So you know how Android, some skins will let you organize your launcher by app category. That's pretty much all that thing looked like. But I can see how that's beneficial. If you want, you won't have to have a ton of pages. You can hide all the pages of apps and just rely on Apple automatically organizing, categorizing your stuff if you want. So I think that's nice. It's a nice optional feature for people. And not a bad thing to me. And then they had the whole app search too. So like how you have search in your launcher on Android, they've got an app search in app library as well. So just trying to make all those apps much more accessible. And I see more people coming in, so let's check out the chat real quick. Keynote looked very movie-ish. Yeah, but I thought it was really cool how they did it. We got Robert Clark. There he is. Yeah, thanks, Robert. Thanks for stopping by, man. All right, so yeah, so iOS app library, nothing too big about that. That's just kind of like your whole app launcher for iOS now. And then you've got widgets. So they finally added widgets to iOS, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of jokes and memes going on about that. But you can now actually add widgets to your home screens now. And the way they made it look was a lot like Windows Phone. That was my very first impression, was that this thing looks a lot like Windows Phone. And let me actually go ahead and try to share. Let's see if we can share apple.com. Yep. Yeah, so we can kind of scroll through some of this stuff here as we talk about it, right? So iOS 14 that they introduced, we went through the whole thing, went through the app library, but the widgets, right? So this is kind of how it looks on the screen now. You can organize it anywhere you want on any of your home screens. Like I said, to me, first impressions looked a lot like Windows Phone. It would have been cool if they actually animated some of the widgets, I think. It'd be more Windows Phone-ish. But you got glanceable information finally on your iOS home screens, something actually usable instead of just staring at a grid of icons. So that's nice. The interesting thing about that's going to be how is it going to do on battery? Apple obviously optimizes things very well between their hardware and their software, and gives you good battery life, especially with the newer iPhones and the larger capacity batteries. So it'll be interesting to see how the widgets, because you have to update and display information, how that actually does on your battery, if your battery's going to take a hit because of that. Because when people get iOS 14, this is the first thing you're going to do, try the new stuff, and you're going to throw up a whole bunch of widgets on their screen. So it'll be interesting what kind of battery life you're actually going to get out of that. And then this is the app library that I just talked about. So organizing everything by app category, just looks like a launcher. You can search for all your apps. So that's cool. Other things, they talked about picture-in-picture. That's probably the biggest thing that people are waiting for. You finally have picture-in-picture on iOS on your iPhone. So obviously you can do this on your iPad. They brought it to iPhone now with the larger displays. People have been begging for this, and they finally done it. But it's actually cool. So people are going to say this is a direct rip from Android, fine, but you can move it anywhere on your screen like you can do on Android, but you can also resize the window, which you can't do on Android. So that's pretty cool. You can swipe it to the side if you don't want to occupy any screen space, and the audio will still play. So that's very cool. I think it's a good implementation, a little bit more flexible than what Android actually gives you. And it's finally about time that Apple added this to the iPhone. I'm going to stop sharing because it's hard to kind of go through my notes and the screen all at the same time. Phone Tech at Work. What's up, Alan? So Phone Tech at Work, we got the brand in the chat. Thanks, Alan, for stopping by. We got Cliff. So Cliff, just here in the chat, has been a minute. Cliff, longtime supporter of the channel, so I appreciate Cliff, you being here. Exactly, Tana. Hashtag optimize. I hate saying optimize. It's an overused term, but it's actually true. That's pretty much what they're doing, right? They even explained that with the whole new macOS, which we'll get there, and how they optimize their macOS software to work with that new hardware. Third-party launcher support and Robert Clark. Yeah, I mean, you would think that would be nice. Apple, given their focus on security, probably not going to happen anytime soon. It's really huge baby steps with Apple, right? So they're going to give you a little bit once every few years. So I think these are a lot of changes probably for Apple and iPhone owners to absorb. You've got widgets, which are going to look totally different. You know, you've got the whole app library thing, picture-in-picture, updates to all these apps. I think for normal people, you know, for most everyday people, that's going to be a lot to absorb, and Apple likes to give people spoon feed them a little bit at a time. So third-party launcher, probably not anytime soon, right? No, I mean, if you show their website, I think that's free use. And if you're talking to it, I don't think so. Like if I played the whole keynote video with their audio and stuff and I didn't say anything, yeah, they'll definitely copyright strike that thing down and really quick. Nova for iOS. Yeah, no way. You can dream, but definitely not going to happen. Doing for Apple Car. Yeah, we'll totally get there. That's pretty cool. Questionable, but definitely pretty cool. So yeah, app library widgets, picture-in-picture that everybody wanted. They played a little bit up on Siri, so they said they redesigned it so it's not as obtrusive. It won't take up your whole screen anymore. And they have voice translation. So if we're doing the whole Android comparison, obviously that's going to be Google Translate. It looked exactly like Google Translate. Now, how well it works, will it work as good as Google Translate? We'll see, but they've got real-time voice translation now. So as someone's speaking, it'll transcribe it on your screen. And you can have a kind of conversation that way, just like you can with Google Translate, and even more so on a Pixel phone. So we'll see how that actually works. Do we trust Siri to actually do that accurately and in real time? We'll see. But it's good to see them adding these features. So it's about time they made some changes to Siri. And some of the other bigger changes was to iMessages, right? So they had some updates, big updates to iMessage. So updates are going to further ingrain people into using iMessage and keeping you using iMessage and Apple and iPhone and iOS. So firstly, they add pin messages, no brainer. Just like any of your chat apps, you can pin chats to the top that you want always at the top if you got a lot of threads going. Obviously, they added new emojis. So you got new emojis, you got Memoji stickers now. So for anybody that actually likes Memojis and uses them a lot, not only do you have the animated Memojis, but now you've got stickers that you can use. So we'll probably see a lot of that at the beginning, and we'll see how much that really goes into use by people. But the big deal is the group conversations. So they added that group conversation feature that really feels like any other chat app like Telegram or anything else. So if you like to invite a group of people into your own chat, you can converse there. They have threaded conversations. They'll have mentions in it. So if you only want to be notified of anytime someone mentions you in that chat, you can do all those things. So features just like any other third-party group chat app. So iPhone's going after a lot of these other group chats like Telegram. And I think a lot of people use them. So, you know, a lot of people, you know, who may have a bunch of people who all have iPhone might gravitate towards using this stuff and stop using some of these other apps that have those same features. So more attempts, I think, good enhancements to iMessage, and definitely another shot at trying to keep you in Apple using iOS, using iPhone. Next few things they updated was Maps. So they really played up Maps. They actually went ahead and compared themselves to Google Maps this time. They threw up a quote about how much better Google Maps or Apple Maps and how they've closed the gap with Google. Now, I don't know how many people in chat actually use Apple Maps. I have iPhone. I use iPhone every day, but I still use Google Maps. So I might go ahead and try Apple Maps just to see how much it's improved. They seem to have some pretty good features they added up in there. Really playing up privacy in Maps. So privacy everywhere was across this presentation, but playing up, excuse me, a lot of things that they added to enhance their privacy in maps. They've also added a concept called guides. So you can put together information about specific locations. So this is obviously going to be good for travel. And again, taking shots at travel apps like, whatever, Travelocity and all these other apps that do the same thing, that will give you contextual local information, best places to eat, best places to see at any given destination. And so they have that concept of guides built into maps now in iOS 14. And that's definitely going to take shots at these travel apps. And so that'll be another interesting thing to see how that competes and how these other apps keep up. And they also added new ways to get there. So they're playing up cycling. So they really want to play up their environmental conscious angle to say, hey, we're going to give you alternate routes and alternate methods to get there other than driving, reducing the carbon footprint. If you like to bike, we've added a cycling option showing you how to get there, and surprisingly a lot of detail. So they added things like they'll indicate where there's stairs. They said, I'll show you where there's actually more quiet paths, less car traffic. So they really took that into account. And if it works well, that's pretty good for all you cyclists out there if you like to bike around. And of course, it integrates with Apple Watch because you're not going to be cycling holding up your phone. Most cyclists want to track their activity with their watch anyway. And so they really integrated that all into Apple Watch. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, they had more EV stuff. So electric vehicle stuff. They have EV routing. They'll show you charging stops, charging stations, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of good improvements to Apple Maps, I think. And let's just check chat real quick. What's up, Eric? Easy from Easy Computer Solutions. Eric's in the chat. Thanks for stopping by, sir. And Big John's in the chat. What's up, Big John? Thanks for stopping by again. Big John came through on the last live stream that I thought no one was going to come through. So I appreciate you, Big John. Yeah, LaShawn, I mean, everyone uses Telegram, right? So this will be interesting. I wonder how many iPhone people are going to drop Telegram. Let's see. Joker Tech. These changes are going to bring more people that were on the fence. Yeah, I mean, I saw articles. I thought I didn't read any articles, but I know Jerome, I caught snippets of his show today. He showed an article where, people felt that this would actually move people to Android for some reason because iOS feels like Android. They might want to go to Android. I think it's the opposite. A lot of good Android features come to iOS, and I think a lot of people who were on Android for some of these small little features and only for that, and they really want to go to iOS, I think it's going to bring a lot of people to iOS. Alan, Phone Tech at Work is downloading it now. I need those updates to iMessage and widgets. Yeah, I mean, those are really good updates. It may look small and incremental to people, but I think they're adding the right features that people probably really want. Even I think it's pretty cool. I think these are very good features and enhancements to iOS. I don't care where they come from or where they're inspired by. I think they're naturally great features to add, and it's great to see them doing it. People have been asking for a while. Cliff uses Google Maps. Yeah, I use Google Maps. I'm going to try to use Apple Maps, but yeah. Apple Maps in Canada is bad. Okay, well, maybe they update the data and it's more usable there. But in the US, I haven't used it anytime soon, so I'm going to give it a try. Forbes Tech Joseph is in the chat. Thanks, Joseph, for stopping by. Appreciate that. $399 phone and this OS new users. Yeah, I mean, you go with the cheapest iPhone, and you've got some fresh new features on iOS. I think a lot of people are going to like, and it's going to appeal to a lot of people. Let's see. They were all caught up, pretty much. Cool. But again, appreciate everyone stopping by. We had like 20 people in this chat, so much more than I thought would come by. Appreciate all of you being here. So those maps. I think other things the update was CarPlay. So Tana, your whole CarPlay thing. This was actually pretty cool. They made some enhancements to the CarPlay apps, but the big deal was that digital key. Right? They're going to debut this in some BMW model. Obviously, they're going to go with a high-end car and a high-end partner. But basically, they're going to have a digital key. So key available like anything else in your Apple Wallet on your phone. So you can actually go ahead and supposedly lend this key to anybody with whatever permissions you want. So you can restrict the permissions to what they can do with the key, or you can give them full permissions, which is basically a copy of your key. So this is going to be interesting. And this most likely, almost definitely, right, came out of their whole car project. And they didn't go with the hardware, but this is definitely some of the software that they thought they could start rolling out now. And much like HomeKit and other things that are very much embedded into our everyday products, this whole digital key thing, I don't even know what it's called, that they're baking into CarPlay that pretty much looks like something that lives in your Apple Wallet. It's pretty much like anything else. They try to embed it into smart devices like HomeKit. They're working with all the industry partners to make sure that they're working on universal standards to make this thing work. And we'll see who adopts this, right? I mean, you move something like that personal, like a key, over to something digital is a very sensitive thing. But, if you're able to move money over to digital, you can definitely do it with car and car access. It's just another hurdle, a mental hurdle, I think, for a lot of people to get over. And then obviously they're going to be testing this out. So anyone on BMW who wants to be guinea pig for this thing, that's going to be interesting. But because it's Apple, they probably have how do you want to say it? They have the backing behind them. They have the money, obviously, but they have the clout behind them to try to move the whole industry. So that will definitely be interesting. And the last thing that they mentioned about iOS 14 was this whole App Store thing. So, and the big thing there was app clips. So the ability for light and fast and easy to discover apps. So these are basically slivers of apps that have basic functions that are going to have to be 10 megabytes or less. And I think this can be cool. I don't know how many people are just overlooking this thing, but how many apps do you download as a one-time use thing because some friend is using something one time, or you're going to some restaurant that has a specific thing that you need to order with, or whatever it is, just one-off apps that you download once, use, and never use again. And it just clutters up your whole home screen, eats up space. I don't know about you, but I had a lot of that stuff, and I do cleanups every now and then. So I think this is going to serve very well for that. They want to make this as an easy discover thing so you can share with other people new apps. But I think this is going to be really for people who don't want the whole app. It's a one-off thing. I'm going to use it real quick, and then I'm going to throw it away. Or if I forget to throw away, it's only eating up barely no space on my phone. So I think App Clips was actually pretty cool. Obviously, it's going to be integrated with Apple Pay and their whole new Apple sign-in thing that they really try to push hard. Just like how you can sign in with Google, sign in with Facebook, Apple really pushed their whole Apple sign-in thing. So that was pretty interesting. And obviously, you'll have the option to download the full app. I see Gigi and Tana going back and forth in the chat. I don't know exactly what. I'm not reading it all. Scroll back up. Yeah, I don't know. Big John's supposed to go out on Mondays, right? But like I was saying last time, Big John, man, if you do go out on stream and you want me on, I'm there. I'm running iOS 14 and I missed the stream today. She's already got it on. And Kimmy's jailbroken her phone. So I'm wondering how this is going to be for that. Mike says he's used Apple Maps and he says it's better. But he's Googled everything, so yeah, I'm definitely going to give Apple a try. Let's see. Yeah, Big John, you have an iPhone, right? Your first iPhone. Says he's using a little bit more these days. It's definitely different from Android, but I'll get there. Yeah, I mean, at least you're sticking with it, man. Trying something different is always hard. Change is hard. So sticking with it, you might end up liking it. But like I said, I'm probably like a lot of you. I always have an iPhone on me. I've had an iPhone since the original iPhone, but I always have at least 1 or 2 or 3 Androids on me. So, but I always at least have one iPhone. Yeah, Big John, I saw you got that new iPhone. And shout out to Alan, Phone Tech at Work. Thanks for the $5 super chat, man. Really appreciate it. And again, super chats are definitely not necessary. Definitely appreciated, though. I forgot I even had that stuff enabled. So thank you, Alan, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it very much, man. And Tana So Lit with the $10 super chat. So he just doubled you up, Alan. But it's a great creative friend. Thanks very much, Tana. Really appreciate the support. I really appreciate the beats too. Been using those in my last videos. So really cool beats. If you want music for your videos, if you're a YouTube creator and you're worried about copyright strikes and all that kind of stuff, because some of these services sometimes change their mind later and they'll throw a copyright strike at you. And Tana is just another creator. He's a music producer. He's got some really good beats, $2 a beat or so on his site, chosenbeats.club. So if you're looking for some music, definitely go and support another creator. We got Coast in the chat for all the way from Sydney, Australia. The new update makes it look exactly like what Oppo has been doing for years with their OS. Yeah, and what's funny is Oppo's been going the other way. So Oppo has their whole Color OS, and their whole mission when they first came out was to be an iPhone clone. Their hardware looked exactly like an iPhone. Their software was Android, but they made it look exactly like an iPhone. You didn't have a launcher. You didn't have an app drawer. But Apple's actually been coming the other way. So now you've actually got a launcher, and you got a lot of more stock like Android launcher capabilities in Color OS. So Color OS has come a long way. I think the only thing they need to add is the ability to do icon packs. If Apple added icon packs to Color OS launcher, I don't think you would need have much of a reason to put on a custom one. At least not for me. And then Big John with a $10 super chat too. So thank you, Big John. Really appreciate that. He matched Tana. Appreciate you guys. Again, super chat's definitely not necessary. Again, I totally forgot I even had it enabled, but really appreciate all the support. Barry Johnson, my notifications on Kimmy sometimes come really late. I follow our Twitter, have notifications on. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube's going to do what it's going to do with notifications. Again, I wasn't trying to promote the stream a whole lot anyway, but really appreciate everyone coming through. Take Tana's money. Yeah, I got no problem doing that. Tana's got a lot of it, I think, so I'm good. G doesn't need encouragement to flap on me with that Axon M. Yeah. Forbes, you like it, man. I know you like the abuse. And you probably got like 5 of them anyway, so. Yes, GG, Forbes loves his Axon M. Thanks a lot. Yeah, man, anytime, anytime. Beats are legit, and I think we should support other creators. Tana beats are definitely official. Phone tech at work, Alan. $5.01 to push him ahead. Thanks very much, Alan. Appreciate that. Let's see. Do you think iOS 15 will bring the new icons from macOS Big Sur? Probably not. For everyone else who might be listening to this stuff later, macOS will get there. macOS, they kind of streamlined the OS look and feel. I think they overplayed how much they redesigned it, but they redesigned and streamlined the icons again. They do this every once in a while, right? They'll always say they streamline the OS, they streamline the icons, they keep the concepts looking the same, but they tweak them a little bit. And that's what they did in the new macOS Big Sur. And doubtful, right? Those icons usually don't come to iOS, Mac icons. Kind of versions of it, but the whole iOS icons, you even see it in the iOS 14 beta. They're still they still are very much those square looking icons. And I'm gonna plug in my computer so this thing doesn't die. LaShawn, I donate, but I'm broke. No worries, man. Like I said, super chats definitely far from required, man. But I appreciate the sentiment. Yeah, Gigi, you gotta promote your own stuff when you're a smaller creator. It doesn't seem like YouTube wants to push notifications or allow the content out. So you got to do your own promotion for sure. But you've been doing stuff regularly. So you've been doing it consistently on the same days. And I think that definitely helps. So people know, Gigi's going to push out a video every Monday. She's going to do a live stream every Tuesday, all that kind of stuff. So I think consistency helps. I came back and I just started posting videos after this time was a long break. I think maybe about 5 or 6 months. The last time I did it, I picked right up and my views were about the same as before. This time though, views are way down. So it's not YouTube's fault. I stepped away for about half a year. I think the algorithm just forgot about my channel. So now that I'm posting videos again, it pretty much feels like I'm starting a whole new channel again. Just the way YouTube's treating the videos and how many impressions it's pushing out. It's a lot less. It feels like I just started my channel again. Let's see. Gigi with the $7 super chat. Thank you very much. Kimmy, super chats, much appreciated. And they definitely go back into the channel. So like anyone else, a lot of us, we get these super chats and we just put it back into the products that review, put it back into the gear we use for the channel. So when you're starting out, it's a lot more coming out of pocket for sure. So every little bit helps. All right, cool. So that was everything about iOS 14. I don't know if you thought anything I left out that you think is cool, let me know. But those are all the major things that they kind of went through. iPadOS, I didn't see a whole lot of stuff that was too impressive. They redesigned some of the new apps to take advantage of the larger iPad displays. So they'll have their new sidebars and some of their apps that give you a new menu system or different ways to drag and drop from a sidebar. So it's good that they're using the real estate on the iPad to actually make it more functional. So not earth-shattering updates there, but definitely helping the usability of it. Much more than Android's ever done for tablets. I mean, age-old discussion, Android's probably clearly given up on tablet-based design because all their apps are just phone apps blown up on a bigger screen. And that's useful for like consuming media. So watching video and stuff, it doesn't matter. But that's why people don't like to try to do advanced work on an Android tablet because the apps just aren't designed to take advantage of that real estate, which is too bad. I really hope Google tries to do that because they have their whole Pixel slate and they're still trying the Pixel tablet thing. Hopefully they'll consider improving the software like Apple does here. And then the big deal with iPadOS was the updates to the Apple Pencil. So now you have handwriting support. So handwriting to text, translating your handwriting into text. I think that's a huge deal. They have that all over the OS now. So you can write in search, you can write in an app, you can write in your notepad, and it will translate to digital text if you want. Excuse me. And they also have things where you can highlight the text in Notepad and you can then do formatting off of that. So I think that's going to be huge. I don't have an Apple Pencil because my handwriting is horrendous and I don't like handwriting things anymore. I'm so used to typing everything. I want things in digital format, but this might get me to use a pencil more just because I can quickly write things. It'll translate it into digital. So I thought that was a huge thing. They're calling that Scribble. Apple always have to have their cute, cool little names for things. They're deeming that feature Scribble. But I thought that was a very big deal. And even detects other languages. They just showed off Chinese. So I don't know if they're going to have any other languages supported other than English and Chinese. Maybe they're starting there and they'll expand, but that's all they kind of showcase as far as I could see. And then being able to copy and paste handwriting into typed text. So that's cool too. So I think all the pencil enhancements from the handwriting detection was hugely impressive and definitely a big deal to me. Anybody have iPads? Do you guys use your iPads for anything? Because I've got tablets, I've got iPads. I don't use them for anything. I know people use their iPads, especially for editing videos for you creators out there. LumaFusion, I heard very good things about. So I know people use it for that stuff, but I edit on my laptop or my Mac Mini back here. I have a laptop for work and I've got my phones, but tablets I'll at most use them to watch YouTube and stuff like that, but I won't really do any kind of serious work on it. A lot of the features that I need in the apps that they support aren't there on iPad. Yeah, Apple Pencil stuff. I thought that was cool, Mike. Let's see. Spectacular Gadgets is in the chat, so thank you for stopping by. Yeah, she uses her iPad for editing. Use LumaFusion. That seems to be the software of choice. Gigi, Kimmy edits on her iPad. That's cool. I just can't get used to interacting with a touch display, but now that they have trackpad support and all that stuff, I might give it a try just because everyone says the rendering and exporting times are so good. And the apps are pretty full featured now. That might be worth giving a shot. I'm sure if you hook that thing up to an external display, that would make it even easier. Barry Johnson, he doesn't use tablets anymore. His wife uses an iPad, though. What does she use the iPad for? Let's see. Big John, he doesn't have an iPad, but he has his Samsung tablets, and he uses them a lot. What do you use your tablets for, Big John? Is it mostly for media stuff, or do you use it for anything else? That's interesting. Since you use Samsung, so it's an Android tablet. That'd be interesting. Yep, SpecTech Final Cut Pro on her MacBook. Yep. I see. I'm not that cool. I'm definitely not that advanced. I tried Final Cut and I was totally lost. So maybe I'll have to go back and give it more of a try. But, you know, I use iMovie. So iMovie does everything I needed to do. I thought it was just really easy to use and I got used to it. And when I wanted to do a little bit more slightly advanced things, you know, I just figured out workarounds to make it work in iMovie. Now, maybe it's easier once you get used to Final Cut, but it's just not something I could get used to. And I'm just, how I edit, how I do my workflow and everything is just geared to iMovie. And surprisingly, on a Mac at least, it's full featured enough for what I do. And then LaShawn's all cool with his gaming laptop. So he's got his badass gaming laptop that he edits on. Use Adobe then. Obviously not Final Cut. And then Barry Johnson, browsing the web. I'm assuming, okay, that's probably what your wife uses her iPad for, browsing the web. Yeah, that's what I do. I watch videos. I'll browse around basic stuff on the iPad. See, Alan tried Final Cut and he's with me, man. I got totally lost on Final Cut. Maybe I just have to give it more time, but I think I'm just so used to what I'm used to. And Alan still uses Sony Vegas, which I heard good things about. LEJ, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you always supporting. Have not used Final Cut one day, perhaps. Yeah. Ellie, do you have a channel? Do you do any YouTube videos? Let me know. Yep. LaShawn uses Premiere Pro. And Big John. Now I'm using one for my new drone, much bigger display. When it's like, oh, that's cool. As a drone controller, that would definitely be cool. Much easier to see and probably control. Yeah, that's actually a good one. And SpecTech prefers Final Cut over LumaFusion. And Tana, of course, he's fancy. He's got all the cool edits and everything else. He uses Final Cut Pro. Okay, I think we're caught up with the chat. So I went through everything. So I went to iOS 14, went to iPadOS, AirPods. So they actually made some pretty interesting announcement for AirPods. Not new AirPods, but updates. So number one, ability to auto switch between your Apple devices. So right now, if you want to switch between your iPad to your phone or to your Mac laptop, you have to physically switch the connection. Now they're saying they're making it easy where they'll have auto switch between the devices. I didn't really look into how that's going to work, but I think that's cool. If it can work seamlessly and work well, that'd be very cool because I use my AirPods. I'll use them on my laptop when I'm taking conference calls. I'll use them on my phone and occasionally on the iPad when I use it. So I definitely switch between Apple devices, and it is a pain to always have to manually connect through Bluetooth and select the connection. So this would be cool if it actually does this seamlessly. And then the other thing was what they're calling spatial audio. So more of a surround sound effect, only for AirPods Pro. So if you have the regular AirPods, this spatial audio surround sound is not going to be for you. But if you've got the iPad or AirPods Pro, this spatial audio thing, surround sound essentially for your AirPods, that feature is coming to the AirPods Pro. So that's pretty cool. And then this whole thing about how their engineering teams had to work around your head moving around and how they would deal with all that kind of stuff. So I can see the complexity in doing that. It just depends on how well the result is, right? What does it actually sound like? This could help for a nice immersive experience when you're watching movies on your iPad or whatever, because AirPods Pro has the noise canceling, which actually works pretty well for true wireless earbuds. And they're going to add the surround sound. So that should be a really immersive viewing and listening experience. So I'm curious to see what that sounds like. So that's AirPods. All right, excuse me. I have no idea how you guys do these live streams. My throat gets so dry. But I'm learning. So WatchOS. So that was iPad AirPods. WatchOS had its updates. This wasn't too big of an updates. They mentioned they have 20,000 apps now. They're allowing multiple complications per app. So you can have more things on your watch face. I think this is cool. Like, I've always struggled kind of getting my watch faces. What do I want on my watch faces? How do I want them to look? I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. So they're going to have the ability to share watch faces. So if someone else is more creative and has cool things that they put onto their watch faces, they can share that with you. But also they'll have curated, pre-made, custom watch faces per app. So I think that's cool too. So if you're not that creative, you're not sure how you want to set up your Apple Watch display, I think this will help more people get into Apple Watch, because they'll see the possibilities, right? You may not know what you can display on your Apple Watch and how that can be useful to you. So seeing what other people do and being able to have them share their watch faces with you, I think that's going to be cool. They mentioned a new workout app. So within the workout app, there's new kind of workouts. So they added the whole dance thing. So I know with this whole shelter in place and quarantine things, people are looking for more activities to do at home, more ways to work out at home, and dance classes has been one of them. And so they've worked in the ability to track dance as a workout. And probably the biggest thing is sleep tracking. So they finally added sleep tracking. I can't believe that Apple never had sleep tracking on their Apple Watch, but they finally added it. So all the basic sleep tracking features that other wearables probably have, they'll have, bedtime and wake up time to help you go to sleep on time, wake up on time for a much more regular sleep routine. And they'll track your sleep just like any other app like Fitbit or anything else. So finally having that built into your watch is cool. Some people might not want to wear their watch to bed. I've passed out with the watch on, haven't found it to be a problem. So I think sleep tracking on the watch is probably the biggest thing they probably announced there for WatchOS. And the other cool thing is they actually are supporting hand washing detection. So obviously with this whole situation we're in right now, hand washing detection is kind of a cool thing. They'll be able to detect when you're actually washing your hands, track it, and they'll even give you a countdown to say, how long are you doing that for? If you pause washing your hands before that counter goes down, they'll say keep washing. So I think this will help build good routines for people. Just a nice little thing to add to acknowledge the current climate that we're in, and not ignore it and help support it in even little ways like this. So it may seem silly, but I appreciate Apple doing that. And then lastly, they added more Siri language translation. So just like what they did with iOS on your phone and everything else, you can do translation on the watch, which I think is pretty cool. So we'll see how that works. All right. Anything happening in chat? LEJ, not anymore. So I think I asked you if you had a YouTube channel. So I'm assuming this is what your response is into. Not anymore. So you had one, but you're thinking about resuming. Let me know. Yeah, let me know. Let us know. You support a lot of channels that I see. So, let me know. We'll definitely do the same. What kind of content are you thinking about doing? Mike is using his iPad to watch now. So that's a very good use of your iPad, Mike. Thank you for checking me out on your iPad. Barry Johnson, $5 super chat. Appreciate that very much, sir. Super chat for extra water during the live streams. Thank you. Yes, need to stay hydrated on these live streams is what I'm finding out, because you've got lights coming at you. So I've got some LEDs in front of me, and that's adding some heat. And then we're in a heat wave in California now. It's definitely the start of summer, so it's already hot anyway. And then when you're talking like this, you definitely get dry throat. So having extra water on hand, definitely helpful. Thank you for the $5 super chat. All right. And we got Drew. So Drew's in the chat. Thank you very much, Drew, for stopping by. Drew is a new creator, and he supports so many different creators. I always see him retweeting content, commenting in everyone's comment section. Drew shows up for everybody. So appreciate Drew. If you're not subscribed to Drew, go check his channel out. He's brand new, but he pushes out a ton of videos. The guy's an animal. So he's pushing out a ton of content. He seems like he's having fun doing it. And, he's supporting everyone else doing it. I think his videos are really good for a brand new creator, like way better than my videos were when I first started. So you're already off to a good start, I think, Drew. So yeah, if you've not seen Drew's videos or not subscribed, go definitely check out his channel. All right. So that's all the way through WatchOS. They had a whole section about privacy. And obviously Apple always plays up the whole privacy angle. For those in the chat, is Apple's privacy a big deal to you? Is that a selling point for you? It may not be a make or break, but is that an appealing aspect to you that Apple promotes privacy over obviously competition like Google, who is open everything? They're all about data collection. Apple's about securing your information. Because they always play this up, and they had a whole section on what they're doing about privacy again. So they played up again, they're signing in with Apple. So just like how you can do sign in with Facebook account, sign in with your Google account, you can sign in with Apple if the site supports it. Anybody use that? I actually haven't used sign in with Apple. I haven't seen many sites, that use Apple sign in. But they said Apple likes to throw numbers around for some reason these days. And they're saying they had 200 million accounts for Apple sign in. And that seems a little low to me. Is that because how many iPhones are there on this world? And how many Apple ID accounts are there? 200 million accounts doesn't seem like a lot, at least to me. But they didn't put that number in context. They just throw out a number. They say 200 million. That sounds like a lot. But for Apple, is that really a lot? When you put out numbers like this, I'm always skeptical. I always try to put it into context because I can throw out a number and it may sound good, but is that good? I don't know. And for privacy, they're playing up this whole tracking control. So they play this up in Safari. I'll talk about a little bit that later on macOS updates. But this whole tracking control, so being able to track what's going on your phone within your web browsing, and really trying to prevent people from tracking you without you knowing. So they really play that up. I think that's going to be important to people. And then lastly, they're introducing this thing around app privacy. They equated this to like a nutrition label on food, where you can actually see what's supposedly in the food you're about to eat, how many calories, what are the ingredients, that kind of stuff. They're saying they're going to have a similar thing for your apps in the App Store. So you can actually see, a list of what they're doing for privacy. They'll show you what the developer is willing to share with Apple. And so Apple's requesting that they share how much data do you collect? Are you sharing that data with any third-party sites or companies? And so we'll see, because if you start to see apps after a while that don't have anything of that information, Apple's asking for it. And if they're not willing to put that down, that's a red flag probably. So I think that's interesting. And Apple obviously, again, has the clout to enforce this and really push their developers to share that information, because they may make it mandatory or else you're not going to be a part of this app store. They could do it. I think I'm not sure. I think I can see both sides of the conversation on this. I'm not a privacy or security expert, but as a consumer, this would seem like a pretty interesting thing. Now, how many people are actually going to look at it? Probably not a lot at first, but if it catches on, I could see this being a very interesting thing. And there's a lot of people that are paranoid and very concerned about their privacy online. And I think this could be a thing. Let's see. Chat, anything going on here? Drew, again, hope you're having a great night. So far, California, I'm on the West Coast, so it's only 7 p.m. I had some time before we get dinner ready, so I thought I'd jump on, talk about WWDC like everybody else. I know everyone's talking about this stuff, but I had some thoughts. I want to share them. Tana fell asleep on an Apple TV series trailer. You didn't like the whole do you like sci-fi, Tana? Because if you like sci-fi, it was remotely entertaining, I thought. But yeah, I could see that. Tana likes the security. LEJ, privacy is important to me, but not for everyone. Yeah, it's not for everyone. Some people may not care. People may be growing up used to giving out their information and they don't care. But there's a lot of people that do. And so I'm just wondering how many people, because I think for a lot of tech folks too, a lot of us are used to giving out our information as well. And some are very big on security and some just don't care. So I'm always curious to see where people stand on privacy. And then Costa says it's a very appealing aspect, but I don't know if it's actually completely accurate. I mean, they still track you to some extent. Yeah. I mean, this is the whole argument and back and forth about privacy and data collection, right? People will say, yeah, I'm willing to give up some of my data because it improves my experience on the platform with the apps. If you give enough information, you can get more effective things like effective recommendations, whatever, right? Things tailored to you that are actually useful. Just how much you're willing to give up is always a question. Speaking of data sharing, that wash your hands feature on WatchOS is hilarious. Yeah, I thought it was actually cool. It's one of those frivolous things, right? Just a little extra that seems silly, but I thought it was cool that they actually acknowledged what's going on right now and they threw something in that they could do. I'm sure it wasn't that easy. It took some effort, but I think it's cool. And I would think if you've got kids, I mean, I'm sure by now everyone's taught their kids how to wash their hands very well. But there are kids walking around with Apple Watches. And this could be good for the kids. I think it'd be good for anyone. So I think that's a good thing. I'm just curious as to which series of Apple Watch this stuff is going to work with. So Barry Johnson agreed. I think for the average consumer, it would give them peace of mind. Yeah, privacy always seems like an important thing, especially when you're hearing horrific stories about data breaches and everything else. And of course, that's more sensitive information, like financial information and stuff. But that's always in the news, and so I think that's always at the people's forefront of their thought. Cliff, this has been a great live stream, folks. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, really appreciate that, Cliff. Not sure what the like button does. Supposedly it helps Google and YouTube know that people like this stuff and maybe push the content out more, but I'm not sure how effective that really is. But I appreciate that, and it doesn't hurt for sure. Tana Doves loves sci-fi, but he did not like the trailer. Okay. Yeah, it was cool. I wasn't overly impressed, but I think I'll give it a try. I don't watch most of the Apple TV Plus shows. I've only watched like 2 or 3 of them, and only because I got the subscription for free. But beyond that, I'm not finding a whole lot of shows that interesting. This one looked like I would give it a shot. Art Dog, all this is tough for me to believe. Any system can be beat. Yeah. I mean, if people really want to hack you, they could hack you. I think Apple does make it extremely tough, though. And so, yeah, I'd rather have people try than to just be flippant with it. But there's always a balancing act when it comes to security and privacy and all that. Convenience versus just becoming a pain. Barry Johnson, two Costa facts. If you want privacy, it has to be a custom ROM with Google services. Okay. Yeah, Google is the anti, right? I mean, Google is all about data collection because they want to give you, and they say they want to give you a better experience because of it. And I think they do, but I think certain companies cross the line when it comes to that. LaShawn, I like sci-fi, but they can go overboard with it. Yeah, for sure. And doing a new sci-fi series is always hard because a lot of this cool sci-fi stuff isn't kind of ingrained in culture. And so you're used to seeing the same kind of thing. And if you try to come up with a brand new concept, a brand new series, it tends to get hard for people to catch on to it. There's no like fan base for it. So you're going to need to develop a fan base. Sci-fi lives off of the hardcore fan bases, right? Just like Apple, just like mobile tech, apparently. And so when you start something new, you really need to get that groundswell behind you. Otherwise, it's very difficult for it to survive. I think it's hard for, people into sci-fi culture to look at and adopt new concepts, new series. You like what you like. And Costa wants to know, he's wondering how this new OS with widgets will run on older iPhones with small RAM. Yeah, true. I'm more concerned about battery life. I think they'll make widgets run. If they can make iOS run on older devices, I don't think it's a big deal. It's just, again, to your point though, just like with battery, with memory, how are they going to quote unquote optimize the software to make sure that you have a good experience and you don't just, kill your system resources? And LEJ agrees with Costa. So good thoughts. Good thoughts. So that was privacy. Then they did the whole HomeKit thing. So they played up their improvements to HomeKit. Anybody have like smart home stuff? I don't have a lot of smartphone home stuff, but Apple seems like they're making it really hard to not use their quote unquote ecosystem, right? HomeKit seems pretty easy to use and they tie everything into it. So that seems pretty cool. So major players are what? HomeKit, Google, and Nest, and then Amazon, right? So I'm curious how many people use HomeKit and smart home stuff with it and how easy it is, because it looks easy. And so HomeKit improvements, they keep touting they've always been doing this, but I guess they've continued to expand their reach in the industry. They say they've gotten farther with influencing industry standards for interoperability. God, I can't say that. But again, Apple, big name with their cloud, they can push industry standards in their favor. And then they actually said this was interesting. I didn't know this. They said HomeKit is actually open source. Did anybody know that? And I guess it behooves them, right? It makes things easier to interoperate, but I didn't know that. They also have adaptive lighting is what they're pushing as well. So that, if you have smart lights, you can have those lights automatically adapt for kind of like ambient sensing. So you can get like the right color at the right time. So as things start to dim, it can change the intensity of the light, the color of the light. So that can be kind of cool, I guess. Although anything with that on my phones and stuff, I don't use that kind of auto dimming or whatever night mode stuff because I don't like the color tints. But that'd be interesting how they implement it, and if you can customize it, that'd be pretty cool. And they also played up the camera. So if you have smart cameras, they played up the face recognition, so they can use the facial recognition from the camera to better detect when someone's approaching your door. So they turn on and alert you at the right times for the right things. So yeah, I can see that. That's convenient. That's nice. And of course, they're tying everything together. So they say they tie it together with tvOS. So your cameras will show up on your Apple TV connected to your big TV. And then, of course, they're tying it to this whole Siri command. So you can ask Siri to see any of the cameras on your TVs. So that's pretty cool. Then they went into the whole tvOS, which seemed minor. They said, there's Apple Arcade. They added features where you can start resuming your games that you're playing on Apple TV for your arcade games. So that's kind of cool, right? If you play a lot of Apple Arcade stuff, you have to stop a game, you can come back and resume it later. They've expanded controller support, so there's more Xbox controllers that they support now. I think that's important. Gaming, I'm not a big gamer, but when I did play games, you do get used to the specific controllers, and you like using a specific controller. So if you like using Xbox, that's cool. They're playing out the whole workouts thing. So if you're doing and viewing workouts on Apple TV, they're just saying they'll support picture-in-picture. So if you're doing a workout app and you want to watch TV at the same time, you can do that. They're saying AirPlay is now in 4K. So if you want to share your 4K videos from your iPhone to your Apple TV on your big screen TV, you can do that now. I didn't know it didn't support 4K. It does make sense though now that everything Apple supports, they can shoot 4K 60. 4K 60 stabilized, I'll keep saying this, 4K 60 stabilized on the front and rear camera from an iPhone is pretty damn impressive. And I would shoot that all day, especially if I'm doing home videos with my kids. And so now you can share them on your TV through AirPlay. That's cool. And they're saying Apple TV Plus, the app, is coming to Sony and Vizio TV, so it'll be built in, I guess. That's interesting. Not TCL. TCL is getting big. And then your favorite Tana, the new Apple Original Foundation. That's what it's called. I thought the trailer was pretty cool. I'll give it a chance, but Tana was not impressed. All right. LEJ had a 6S. It lagged and stuttered before now. Really? Huh. You must have used the hell out of that thing to get it to lag. So, but yeah, I still have older iPhones too. But again, I changed my phone so much that I probably don't beat them down as much as other people. Costa, I wonder if it'll introduce Samsung lag. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see, right? Again, it depends on how they get the widgets to work with everything and, with battery and resources. So we'll see. LaShawn has a lot of Google Home stuff. Obviously, it's going to be Google stuff. So a lot of Nest kind of stuff, like doorbells and stuff, LaShawn, cameras. Apple's home stuff sucks. Okay. Tana, big Apple guy. He loves his iPhone, but he says their home stuff sucks, so use Google. All right, fair enough. Cliff doesn't use HomeKit as it actually made my products unresponsive. Just use Google. Okay, seems like people say HomeKit's not very good yet, which is interesting, right? You would think Apple, of all people, would get that working right. And then Ellie, I guess she gave away her iPhone 6S. Yeah, we'll get to the whole new Apple Silicon. That's definitely the major announcement on hardware, because they didn't announce anything else. I think people are waiting for headphones and some other stuff that they did not announce. But WWDC is the whole week, so maybe they'll throw something out there. Tana's done for the night. All right. We're at an hour. Okay, let's see how much longer we actually go here. The last thing is macOS, though. Last thing, macOS. The new OS is called Big Sur. Keeping with the whole California sites theme. And so they played up the design. They said they redesigned a lot of the OS and the interface and stuff. But to me, from what I saw, it looks the same. So maybe minor tweaks, slight streamlines of the icons and whatever the fonts and stuff. But for the most part, it looks the same to me. Minor tweaks. Of course, they have their widgets, just like on iOS. They have widgets on macOS now. So that'll be interesting. I didn't really see the implementation, though. So I'm assuming you can actually drag them onto your screen now, because right now you have the whole dashboard concept where you have widgets, but they can't actually reside on your screen with your other apps. So hopefully that's how it works. I don't want to keep switching screens to see widgets. And then same messages. So same iMessage upgrades that they have. They brought a lot of that stuff to Messages app on Mac OS. So they have a search on it. They do a photo picker thing to make it easier to select your photos and share. But of course, the emoji stuff is carrying over. They have the same iMessage effects. So the backgrounds where you have the whole confetti and stuff, they're bringing that to the iMessage app or the Messages app on Mac OS. They're also bringing in new stuff from iMessage, like pin conversations. So you can pin favorite conversations to the top of the Messages app. And then they have the whole groups features. So having those private groups that you invite people to chat in, that will also be on your Mac. And I don't know if anyone else who has iPhones who has Macs, but I actually like Messages and the integration between, iMessage on your phone and Messages on your Mac. So I don't have to have my iPhone on me, or I don't have to pull it out of my pocket, because I use a Mac laptop for work. And so if I get a message, it'll pop up on my Mac. I can respond on my Mac. I don't have to take out the phone. So I like that. And then Maps, of course, on Mac OS got a lot of the same upgrades. And continuing with the whole Googlefying iOS, they have that look around feature, which is basically Google Streets for Apple. So they now have the whole Street View thing on Maps on Mac OS, which just looks like a ripoff of Google Street View. So it'll be interesting to see how complete of the mapping that Apple has in all the streets, because it took Google a while to get that data and keep it refreshed. and how they do with privacy on that, right? So, I think Google tries, right? They don't try to show people sensitive information. So it'll be interesting to see how Apple deals with private information as they start to do the whole street mapping. They also have the guides feature. So, just like travel guides and all that kind of stuff in iOS, they bring that to the Maps app in macOS. They hugely played up Safari. Anybody use Safari? I still use Chrome on my Mac. I think Google has me trapped into Chrome because it has all my preferences, all my history, all my everything. But they played up Safari a lot this time. They even took shots at Google Chrome. They said Safari is 50% faster than Chrome. So I thought that was actually interesting that they would even acknowledge Google and Chrome and throw that number out there. So they definitely took a shot at Google. They're claiming better battery life. And of course, they played up the whole privacy, what privacy features they have in Safari. So now in Safari, you can do things like cookie blocking, tracking the website. Apple and Safari will block those and they'll show it to you. And Apple's always done password saving, right? So you can save your passwords into your keychain, and they'll monitor those passwords for data breaches. So if you've got passwords saved for certain sites where there has been known data breaches, Apple will alert you. They'll track that stuff in there. So that's kind of cool. And they have customizable start pages, which was whatever. I mean, I don't know how much time you spend on a blank page. But those are the things. So they also added extensions to Safari, and the first thing they addressed was, what about privacy? So they know if you have extensions, just like Chrome extensions, for third party, you open yourself up for security concerns. So they addressed that off the bat. We'll see how well they do with that. But they try to show how extensions in Safari can help. They show the whole recipe clipping thing, but I don't use extensions on Chrome too much because it slows it down. So, but anybody use Safari, anybody think this is interesting to them, that they might want to switch over to Safari because of this. And the other cool thing in Safari is that they have tab previews. So you can do this in Chrome if you do some tweaking on the settings. You can, when you hover over your tabs in Chrome, you can get a preview of the page. So Apple's implemented tab preview in Safari. So that's probably the coolest feature to me. I might actually give Safari a try. They played it up and it looked good. Check on chat real quick. All right, LaShawn, taking shots at macOS already. Big. All right, yes. Let's see what else. Tanner likes messages too, and he agrees on the integration. Yeah, that integration is nice. I know what you can do with Android with messages and stuff, but it is definitely convenient. So Cliff has actually switched to Safari full time. So what made you switch to Safari, and how are you liking that? I guess you're liking it if you're still there. All right. And probably the biggest announcement, at least for Mac and the hardware side, I thought this is funny. They threw it back to Tim Cook, so they try to make it a big, like, one more thing moment, like a very big moment. They called it very profound and historic for Mac. And they went to, so like I was saying, they went to different locations in Apple Park to present these different segments. And for this portion, to show off Apple's new Apple Silicon, so their new system on a chip that they've designed from the ground up, they went to an undisclosed lab at Apple Park. That was ridiculous. They showed you going down underground through tunnels, whatever, to get to this undisclosed lab where they presented everything about the new Apple Silicon. So I thought it was hilarious, but, a little bit of showmanship from Apple. And so they very much play this thing up. And they should. This is a big deal. This is definitely a big deal. I don't know about the name. They're calling it Apple Silicon. This is their branding for this. iOS, they have like A13 Bionic, right? They use the whole Bionic thing. They're actually calling this Silicon, and that's the right term. You've got other companies who are creating their own silicon, and they call it Silicon. and it's very much a tech term. And I figure Apple would have some other more usable name than silicon. So I thought that was interesting. But they've said they've been developing this thing for over a decade because, as long as they've been doing their whole A series chips, sent from the A4 to the A13, they've been taking learnings from that, obviously, as they build this thing out for their Mac hardware. And so they're very much playing it up just like iOS and their A series chips. They're very high performing while minimizing power consumption, right? And so that's definitely one good thing that they have going on iOS and their iPhone devices for their A chips. And so that's a big thing they played up on this new SoC for Mac. They said they're going to have a bunch of them, so there'll be a family of Mac SoCs, system on a chips. So just like, I guess, Snapdragon has different levels, like your 800 series, 700 series, 600 series, you're going to have the similar concept, I think, for these Mac SoCs. And they're promising things like incredible features and performance. So that's a direct quote, incredible features. That's a very Apple thing. And they're building this on a common architecture. They actually mentioned this, common architecture. So a lot of technical stuff that they threw out in this presentation, which I thought was interesting for Apple. They usually don't like to throw out too much of that kind of stuff. And it wasn't super techy or super nerdy, but definitely more than Apple would normally go into, I think. And they had some really intense guy presenting that thing, so I guess it kind of made sense. And then they went over to Craig Federighi, and he showed kind of how are we going to do the whole software integration, or how we're going to optimize our Mac OS software to this new silicon, and how is it going to run on the hardware. So just like how they moved from the whole PowerPC days over to Intel, it's the same concept for them. They're going to have ways for developers to switch over as easy as possible. They'll have what they call Universal 2. So this is supposed to be a single binary, basically single installer for both Intel and Mac. So make it a little bit easier for developers. They already say that a lot of the big programs that creators use, so Microsoft Office, they've already worked with Microsoft. This thing is ready to go, apparently, for Microsoft Office. Apps that creators use, like Final Cut, Logic Pro, Lightroom, Photoshop, all are supposedly optimized and working on this new Apple silicon. And then they have this whole concept. Of course, there's going to be time where they're going to need backward compatibility, so they're going to have Rosetta for that. So Rosetta will support backward app compatibility. Excuse me, as people transition their apps over. So, yeah, this is obviously a big deal because we see what the A series chips are doing for iOS, and creators have seen it and experienced it in very intense things like transcoding, rendering video. That's been impressive. So I'm sure you'll have the same effect for creators on a Mac now. So, if you like those render times on your iPad and you're a real hardcore Final Cut person, and you want to use your Mac, you're going to get a lot of those benefits from this new Mac hardware. So I think that's going to be really cool. Now, the question mark will be how much? So how much are these new Macs going to be with this new Apple silicon? And we know the answer to that. Really expensive. So I mean, just imagine, right? The current Macs, when they come out right now with Intel stuff, when you load up those things, it's like $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 plus dollars. Imagine what this stuff is going to be. All right. Going back to chat. So Cliff says for his Safari usage, he finds it faster, more streamlined through his iPhone, iPad Pro, and Mac. Chrome on iPhone and iPad destroy the resources. Love it now. Yeah, Chrome definitely kills. Chrome, if you have multiple tabs open and you keep it open for a while and you don't restart Chrome, it is definitely killing your Mac. Your fans will spin up. You can open Activity Tracker and Chrome's going to be at the top. It just eats away at everything for sure. That is one reason why I'm actually going to try Safari. I want to see if I can just put all my stuff in it and then get it customized. Is it going to really run a lot better for me? Yep, smooth transitions between devices. For sure. And that's always the Apple thing, right? Not just it's all the interoperability with all the different devices. Smooth transitions. That's what they're about. Yep, LaShawn, Rosetta Stone. They're going to teach you how to speak a different language. So what language are you interested in learning, LaShawn? Come over to Mac. We'll teach you how to speak another language. So I think those are all the major things that Apple had announced. So all the software stuff, the major hardware thing was that the thing that everybody knew was happening. They're coming out with their own silicon, and that is definitely a huge deal. But they didn't announce any new products. I think people were waiting for the new Apple branded headphones. So moving away from Beats, moving into their own Apple branded stuff. I think there's rumors that would be there. That was not there. I don't know what other hardware was rumored. I didn't really pay attention. If anybody knows in the chat, let me know. But did not announce any new hardware products, which is not surprising. It was just rumored. But again, you still have the rest of the week. The conference is this whole week. So maybe Apple will just spring something like they do sometimes, just to keep people on their toes. So we'll see. But I'm going to guess if they didn't announce it in the keynote, if they do release anything, it's not going to be anything huge. But overall, I did like the keynote. I thought it was well done. I thought it was well produced. And I liked how they showed a lot more people within the company, and even down to your engineers. I thought that was really cool. And I think being a pre-recorded thing probably made that easier for them to do. They could trust a whole bunch of different people who don't have that public speaking experience before in these events, because they could pre-record it. They can make sure it comes out looking and sounding the way they want. And it introduces a lot more people from Apple. So I thought that was good that they took advantage of the situation of how they had to stage everything and just present everything. So I thought it was actually a well put together keynote. So that's all. That's all the notes I've kind of took and my thoughts that I want to talk about WWDC as far as what I saw. If there's anything that you guys thought was really cool that I didn't cover, or your favorite stuff about, the keynote, let me know. We can talk about it. Any other questions, Q&A, we can do that, but that's pretty much all I had. And it is tough to talk. I don't know how I did a 3-hour live stream last time, but that was fun. These are fun. It's good. It's fun talking about this stuff. It's fun engaging with everyone in chat. Although it does take getting used to trying to run this thing, keep up with chat, talk to people, and run the whole thing. So that's been a pain. It's been harder than I thought. So I think for all you people who do this regularly, Kimmy, Tana, Big John, I don't know how you guys do it. Also, the lack of crowd clapping and going, yeah, was good this year. Now, that would have been hilarious if they just added artificial clapping and applause. That would have been hilarious. They wouldn't have put it past them, but yes. Great stream. Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out for a bit with me here. So, because it's no fun talking to nobody, So the whole point of this live stream is to, yes, get your thoughts out, but it's fun interacting with folks live in chat. So I appreciate all of you guys for stopping by. LaShawn, Coaster, Tim Cook, pick a boot out of his nose, they clapping. That's true. He got it. He found the gold nugget. Good for him. Yeah, people clap for anything. It's more embarrassing at those keynotes or presentations where they pause and no one claps. That's painful to watch. It's like an office moment. It's that awkward office moment if you watch The Office. Barry Johnson, great stream. Thank you very much. I don't know how great it was, but it's great that you guys are here. It's easier with others. I could never do it alone. No, I'm sure you could do it alone. You have a much better personality than I do. So I think you could entertain people a lot better. I'm more informational, and that's all I try to be. So I definitely think you do it a lot better than I could, Kimmy. But yeah, I'm sure it is more fun just, talking to people on the stream. Ellie J, great stream night. Yeah, have a good night, Ellie. Appreciate you stopping by. And LaShawn's been getting in on all the streams too. So I'm copying LaShawn. You were my inspiration. It's like LaShawn is jumping on all these streams. I can do it too. So props to you, LaShawn. It's good seeing you out there. It's good seeing all the content you're creating too, man. All right. So let's see. I know the StreamYard's delayed, so I'm just checking the regular chat window. Oh, it's really delayed. Yeah, StreamYard comments are way delayed. Okay. Brian is here. What's up, Brian? Brian is another person that supports a lot of other creators too, so I appreciate him showing up. How's it going, Brian? Cliff, always loved your camera reviews, Grant. My go-to for sure. Appreciate that. Yeah, I love that stuff, man. I love smartphone photography. So that's a natural thing for me to do. I just didn't realize how hard it would be when I first started doing those things. Those things are tough. It takes a lot more time than I was anticipating. I thought, hey, I just take a few photos, slap them together, put in a video, but I forgot that you have to show off the different camera features, and there's a lot more camera features now. You got to show off the video, different resolutions. You got to put it all together. You need to film the intro. You should film some kind of an outro with your opinion. All that stuff takes way more time than I thought. All right, and Kosa just messing around with Tim Cook some more. Gigi Rokamo, she's saying, I'm welcome on her panel any day. Yeah, anytime, Kimmy. Anytime. If you got a slot, I'll be there. I know you got a lot of people, though. There's probably a good waiting list for your stream. I don't know if anyone here doesn't know. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows that Kimmy, she has her own Talking Tech Tuesdays every Tuesday. Check her out. She hosts her own stream on Tuesdays. She's with Eric and Easy Computer Solutions on their stream on Wednesdays. So she's all over the place. But if you didn't know, now you know. And let's see. Brian, Grant's camera reviews are legit. Thanks very much, man. I don't know. I think there's a lot of competition on YouTube. Way better camera comparisons than me. But I like doing them. So that's why I do them. Like, I'll be taking those pictures anyway, so I figure why not share it with people? And if someone gets something out of it, great. Let's see. No, Gigi, Kimmy, you're like a pro now. You've been doing this stuff you've been on every stream for years, man. And then so starting your own stream was natural. You're a pro at this. Way better than I am. Brian says iOS did get better with 14 though. Yeah, like I said, I think the improvements are very good. They added the features that they needed to add. And yeah, people are gonna take shots at Apple. They're saying, all kind of stuff. I'm sure is already being said. I didn't really look at any of the commentary that's out there today. But I'm sure people are taking shots at Apple saying they copied Android and all that stuff. And that's nonsense. I mean, at this point, yes, the generic saying is everyone copies everyone, but it's true. At this point, mobile OSs are so mature that all these features are going to be bound to make their way across platforms because people find it useful. So why wouldn't someone implement this stuff? It was just a matter of time before Apple did these things. And they'll continue to do it. And I think it's a good thing. We have the tech gentleman. So another tech YouTube celebrity that decided to join up here. So we've got the tech gentleman in the chat. Thank you for stopping by. Agreed, LaShawn. Kimmy is definitely a pro at live streaming now. Tana's back. Got his quick iOS 14 fix. So you put iOS 14 on. You have that iPhone. You still have the 10R. You've got the 11, right? You put on your 11. This beta is like a jailbreak. That's cool. I'm glad people are actually excited about this iOS 14 beta. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I didn't see any of the rumors, so I had no idea what Apple was going to do with iOS 14. I just watched it because it was going to be their first keynote virtually. So I wanted to see what they did with it. But I am actually pleasantly surprised with what Apple did today. Yeah, so Tana still has that 10R. Yeah. Are you going to get the iPhone 12, Tana? Or one of them? They're coming with like 10 iPhone 12s. So I'm sure you're going to pick up one of them because the price keeps going down on that base model. I always see people announcing rumored prices for the lowest end iPhone 12 and it keeps going down. Supposedly it's going to be cheaper than what the 10R is right now. And if that happens, it's kind of a no-brainer. Trying to get in your level with the photos. No, I don't do, like I said, I don't do anything with special my photos. I just do full auto. Anybody can do full auto. So I just take the camera out, point it, and shoot. That's all I do. The fancy stuff is with all the other folks like Juan Bagnell and bunch of guys that do awesome camera comparisons. Like Danny Wingett. Oh man. That guy's pretty awesome. Jesus, a professional bully. Definitely with you, I'm sure, Tana. Tana's getting to 12 plus. So what is like naming convention on these things? They've got the iPhone 12. Then they're going to do the iPhone 12 Plus, the 12 Pro, and the 12 Pro Max or Pro Plus. I have no idea what they're calling it anymore. They're getting real confusing with their naming conventions. They're bringing back the Plus after ditching it because they don't want to confuse it with the Pro. So we'll have the regular 12, the advanced, the bigger version of the 12 called the Plus, I think. Then they'll have the 12 Pro, which is like the 11 Pro, and they're going to have the what? The 12 Pro Max or 12 Pro Plus? I have no idea. Either way, it's way too much to say. Brian says $599 is the crazy rumor. Yeah, the price keeps dropping from the rumors. So if Apple really does that, that is going to be huge. Tana says the price of the new iPhones are right. Yeah, I mean, if they get these phones at that prices, it is going to be crazy. Crazy. $12 plus, not sure. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what it's really going to be at the end. I got the names right. Okay, cool. I just heard it once or twice. I'm not trying to follow rumors, but it's hard not to hear them nowadays. They're everywhere, especially when it comes to Apple stuff. Lol, AJ, if he knows what's good for him, I win. Yeah, that's like anything. Just say yes, Tana. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. And you'll live a long and happy life. See, LEJ totally agrees. All right. It's past 7:30. I've got to go start getting dinner. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys stopping by, hanging with me. It's been an hour and a half. So appreciate anybody stopping by and actually sticking it out this long. So again, there's a lot of YouTubers in this chat. Tana, Gadget Goddess, Holla at your boy, LaShawn. Tons of people. Drew was in here earlier. If you haven't checked out their content, definitely go check it out. And again, if you need a beat for your videos, check out Tana, chosenbeats.club. And let's see, today's Monday, so Kimmy streaming tomorrow. So Talking Tech Tuesdays. If you like talking tech, if you like this kind of thing, Kimmy has a good thing going on. She's got a whole crew. So they're streaming tomorrow. Go check that out. And of course, Eric and Easy Computer Solutions with Tana, Gadget Goddess, and the whole crew. I think even LaShawn's doing those streams now. Wednesday, go check that out. There's usually a stream every night these days, which is pretty awesome. So go check all those out if you like this kind of talk. And their stuff is better because there's more of them and they do this a lot better than I do. So definitely go check them out if you haven't. If you guys don't know Jerome Ortega, He also does a tech stream, news stream every day, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. He's from Chicago, Tana. I've seen you pop up in those streams. So, but if you don't know Jerome Ortega, he's been around YouTube for a while. He's somewhere around 30,000 subscribers. He's pivoted to doing a daily news stream every day, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific. So if you haven't checked out his stream, you should definitely check it out. I think he does a good job. All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up. Appreciate everyone stopping by. This was a lot of fun. I'm going to try to do more of this stuff just because I figure if I keep doing it, I'll get better at it. And I have fun. I have fun in interacting with everybody in the chat. And I like talking about this stuff. So I want to start talking about this stuff a little bit more, getting my thoughts and opinions out there more. So again, appreciate everyone for stopping by. Really appreciate all these super chats for everybody that donated. Again, that's not necessary, but definitely appreciated. So hope everybody has a good rest of the week. And thanks again for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Take care, everyone.